Woo! Hey ho, hello.
Hey ho, hello.
Welcome to the after party.
Hey!
There's a reason behind this, I swear.
Ho! Yeah, we're the Mumford. Wait, so who's Mumford and who are the sons?
I'm
Just
a
to get it
son.
out of the way.
Are we all
You're
the
a son?
sons?
You're the son?
I think we're all the sons.
Mhm.
It's like Hootie and the Blowfish, how there's no Hootie and the Blowfish.
There's only blowfish.
There's only two genders, Eric, and it's Mumford and Son. So, you know, you got to choose one.
Oh, no.
I like going up to a couple and asking them which one is the Mumford and which one is the son.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We are relaxed. We are sweaty. We are in our Camp Die merchandise because, people, it's our first after party for the Camp-Paign.
Hey! Hey!
Oh!
Our mic tracks are
Bow.
peaking so bad.
Sorry, I was the guy from the Flaming Lips for a second.
There you go.
Bow!
That's really good. Honestly, my goal is to be like the person laughing at the end of a take on like a studio record. You know?
Oh my
no, I
God.
know exactly what you mean. Like when they have small children doing a chorus and then all the children are like, "Eh,"
Or
at the
afterwards,
end.
someone's like, that was it. Like, that's all I want to do. That's all I want to be.
I want to be the guy at the end who's like, all right, let's try it again. Oh, shit.
Brandon, that's how music works, right?
Uh-huh. Actually, yeah.
All right.
Beautiful. We have so much to talk about. You have so much to say. We have so much to answer. There's a lot of watermelon discussion, and I am looking forward to it. But first, folks, we have some exciting additions to the Patreon that we want to tell the people all about.
Patreon.
Hey.
Whee! I'll start with our goal, which I hear Julia and Brandon are doing the dance where you make a little box around your face. It's really good. Is there a name for that dance?
Is that Vogue or is that something else?
Voguing.
I think that's
Voguing,
voguing,
yeah.
yeah.
There will heretofore be known as making a little box around your face.
Mm-hmm.
Let's begin with our newest patron goal. So, can you remind us, Eric, what happened to the last Patreon goal? What did we sail past and what did we achieve?
That's right. Oh man, we passed so many goals. At 500, we went weekly. At 550, something happened. And then at 600, we got the poster from a wonderful Sarah Barra, Camp-Paign 2. I saw someone put their poster in a frame, so congratulations
Yes.
to you for knowing where to buy frames.
Nice.
Yeah, you're the fullest adult you can possibly be.
So there are posters in a frame in someone's house, which is wonderful. So that's what happened at 600. Well, now we got to step it up a bit. And now we're going to do something at 750, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm just going to spin the little wheel here. Brandon, would you tell me what that is?
Oh, I think I have no joke here. I will do I will do a DM. I will do a shot that is one, and I will DM.
Woo!
And
Yeah.
Hope.
folks may or may not know, depending on what I decide, what that will be. But the 2 might not know. Definitely don't know what that could be. I'm speaking very vaguely because I don't want to give you any hints.
Ah.
Brandon has some stands out there. Brandon has people who want to see him run a one-shot. Multitude has a staff editor now who can edit Join the Party if Brandon one-shots a game. And here we are. It's going to happen, people. 750.
Here we go.
Also, just DM me and tell me who I should play for Brandon's one shot. No character concept is too weird. Please let me know.
You just play the actual like human epitome of chaos.
Yes. Hi, I'm playing Loki, God of Chaos.
What's up?
Any pronouns.
I'm gonna make out
It's
with
fine.
myself in another universe. I just stopped on a joke again. Say it one more time for me.
No, any pronouns. I'll turn into a woman halfway through.
There we go.
Okay,
It's
a
so
joke
you
for
guys are making
Julia.
the same joke.
Yep.
Got
Yes,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
So that is one exciting addition. A new goal, 750. Brandon DMs a one-shot. Julia, would you tell us the new all about party planning?
Ooh, yes, about party planning. So instead of posting on Mondays, we're now going to be posting every other Friday starting on July 15th, which is, this Friday. Whoa.
Whee!
Whoa.
Also, we are dropping simultaneous episode previews on our public feed on Fridays as well. So if you are not subscribed to the Patreon at the party planning level tier, there's going to be a little nugget, a little hint for you guys to be like, ooh, a little teaser, a little taste.
What are they talking about this time?
A little hors d'oeuvre of your 4 favorite hosts. We are the
Yeah.
cheese on the snack plate.
That is true.
It's true. It's true. We're like that TV show The Taste, which is just a fancy spoon. One little morsel on it.
Ooh.
Oh god, that was such a good show. I
was
loved
such a
that
good
show.
show. That's the only thing I own on Prime Video. And I'm going to own it. And I downloaded it. I'm going to keep it till the end of my days.
All right, we're just going to cut out 30 minutes of Amanda talking about the taste, and Julia, come back now.
Excellent. So that's our second little tasty treat for you is party planning. Before we were like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to post it when we can. And then we liked it so much, we're now making it every other week. And we're giving you a taste here in the public feed every other Friday. And then we have a third tasty morsel. Eric, would you tell the people all about our new Patreon tier?
Yeah, baby, we got new tiers. So we have one new tier. This is coming out of the ground, rising up. We've grown it from a little seed. We are now doing ad-free episodes.
Woo!
No mid-rolls. We have now created a new tier just for that. That is the $8 tier. If you are in the $10 tier or above, you now will get access to those $8 to the ad-free, but you need to go up from $5 to get to the $8 tier. Basically, $8 tier is ad-free episodes plus everything you get at $5, which is the Discord and the audio version of Party Planning. We are going to do it retroactively from the first episodes of the Camp-Paign. We'll get those up ASAP, and then we'll be releasing them as the new episodes come out.
Yeah, because some people, you want to catch up on Join the Party uninterrupted. Some of you love the mid-roll. Some of you love listening to our house, keeping updates and our ads and a little anecdote that Eric and I start them with. And thank you. You're welcome. But some of you really like listening to uninterrupted episodes. And we've decided, okay, that's cool. So if you want that, join the Patreon at $8.
Yeah.
Also, this is not going to change anything about how you consume Join the Party.
So exactly, if you're at a $10 tier or above, you will get this already. You will get ad-free episodes in the Patreon audio, patron-only audio RSS feed that you already have. You can listen to them or not. You can listen to them or listen to the mid-roll or do whatever you like. And if you are at the $8 tier and you join newly, or if you're at $5 now and you upgrade to $8, we'll give you instructions when you join on how to get that RSS feed.
Yeah. If you're at the $5 tier, this is the same thing that you use for listening to Party Planning. So it's just going to be right there.
If you upgrade, boop, it'll be right there every Tuesday.
The S in this RSS feed stands for secret.
Ooh.
And the one before that stands for savings.
You can join for an annual pledge and save, get 2 free months basically on our membership.
And then finally, we have our highest tier and a little hat we're putting on the highest tier.
Say
what?
what?
So jaunty.
A very jaunty
What?
hat. So our party favor tier, our $50 tier, is going to change a little bit.
Now, Eric, you may have heard of the supply chain of
Yes, we have.
inflation,
Yeah.
of rising costs of goods, and also not wanting to contribute to waste in the environment. You may have heard of all these things. So what are we going to do about them?
So we are going to change the party favor tier from being stuff, from being a care package. Maybe we'll change the name and I'll come up with a party pun after this. Maybe it's not party favor because it's not things anymore. Party planner. I'll come up with something else later, but we're changing the highest tier from stuff to time with me. We're going to have office hours with everyone's favorite DM of Join the Party, Eric
Party
Silver.
professor.
Whee!
Party Professor is good.
That's it. That's the
Party
one.
Professor. Each patron gets 30 minutes with me via Zoom per quarter for you to ask me any games-related questions that you might need. We'll figure out a time for us to hang out one-on-one, so it'll be a Zoom. This won't be like a stream. We'll come up with a time for both of us to hang out. And then above that, the little hat we're putting on, we're now making a $150 tier.
What? Whoa!
This
People
is the
have
fancy
money.
party hat, the fanciest party hat in all of the land, which is a one-shot, one-page RPG session with the 4 of us, and we're going to pick a one-pager together, and we're going to play once a year, and it's going to be wonderful. And you get to hang out with all of us and play a game. Because we know how much you've been loving Goat Crashers and Space Party, so now you get to do it with us.
Fuck yeah.
Exactly.
Love
Love
it.
it.
We give the advice to other creators all the time that, like, when you make a Patreon, you should probably have a tier that's a little bit uncomfortable for you, that you're like, surely nobody will want to give me this much money a month for a podcast I make for free. But it's there are people out there who have money to give and think that the thing you're doing is good, and maybe you don't agree with how much they think it's worth, but that's not up to you. It's up to the person. If a person's like, hey, I love your thing, and they tell you that in a tweet or an email or just by texting it to a friend, that's amazing. And some people do that with money. And so we're trying to take our own advice here and say, like, hey, if you would like the experience of playing a one-shot with the 4 of us once a year, if you're a patron at this level and you have this money and want to give it to creators who you think are doing a fantastic job, and that's us one year, awesome. Like, please do.
Thank you in advance. Yeah.
Yeah.
and noted join the party listener Steve Jobs. If you want to join this tier, this is for you. We know you love Grant Howitt and his games, so if you want to do that, Steve Jobs, just come on board.
I would love to play a one-shot with a zombie, Eric. That would be so much fun.
That'd be dope.
Right?
Yeah, he would roll for brains.
I do want to keep the tier called Party Favor because I do want to imagine our DM Eric in a little party favor bag.
That's
Okay,
true.
that's fine. So we'll do party favor and then party hat as the done because it's the hat on top. I like
nice.
that.
That's really cute. I
Okay.
may have to request Eric some Canva graphics for each of the tiers when you get some spare time.
I'll have to do that. I also there's going to be no pun for ad free. I just want you to know it's going to be party invite at 5, ad free at 8, party guest 10, party city 20.
Party interrupted.
Party uninterrupted.
Oh shit, it's the cops. That's the $8.
They arrested the ads.
Oh no.
True.
Yeah. So Amanda, will you summarize everything very quickly?
Absolutely. So, one, you're getting party planning more. If you were a patron before and you're a patron still, you're going to get it every other Friday without fail. And you, everybody listening now in the main RSS feed, you're also going to get a little preview, a little taste, a little mackerel, a little smorkle.
A smorkle.
A little make it snorkel. A little, I was trying to say morsel, snack, and smackerel all at the same
Oh,
time.
boy.
That's what just happened in my mouth.
A Megan Smorkle.
Exactly.
Yeah. From Suits.
And then we are adding to the Patreon 2 new tiers, okay? We're adding the ad-free Party Uninterrupted tier, $8. If you want to listen to Join the Party without ads, you can do that now. And secondly, we are adding a little party hat on top. We're giving you an option, if you have lots of money and love us, to play a one-shot with us, all 4 of us, once a year for as long as you're a patron at that level. And finally, the $50 tier, Party Favor, which we have several patrons for, and we love you all very much. You are now going to get time with Eric once per quarter instead of things in the mail. Because the postal system is burdened, things cost a lot more than they used to, we don't want to add to waste in the world, and isn't quality time better than stuff anyway?
Wisdom has more value.
That's true.
Yeah.
People always say experiences instead of materialism. This is what we're doing.
Exactly. So those are all the new and exciting things happening at the Patreon. If you're a patron already, you're getting more stuff. Congrats. If you're not, it's a great time to join. Please come on over.
Also, if we get 750 of you, Brandon DM's a one-shot.
Yeah, come on.
Hey!
Make me do work.
Oh!
Hey!
Okay. It is so exciting for us to be continuing, adding, improving, bringing you more and more because, hey, the camp spirit, I think, has gotten into all of our bones and pores. So, folks, shall we talk about Camp Die? Shall we talk about the Camp-Paign?
Let's do it.
I would die!
For Camp Die.
I would die!
For Camp Die.
Yeah!
Hey, that's the thing I said. I know you're saying it.
Yay!
We did it.
Oh, folks, so much to get to. I am so excited. So first, of course, we released our planning, our world building episode, and then episode 1, which is Monster of the Week's episode 0. It was our kind of like training day when we learned all about camp, learned about the NPCs and the other staffers at the camp. We have lots of questions and things to say about them. But first, I think the thing that we got the most questions about, the thing that we got the most comments about, the Brandon What the Fucks, which is a new addition to our lingo. The music slaps, Brandon. Explain yourself.
First, I want to take this opportunity to thank Eric for giving me the little present in a bag of the perfect setup for a title sequence
Yeah.
in episode 1.
Tell me about that.
Oh, I couldn't help myself. I mean, here's the thing. The artistic language we're doing in the campaign is TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get to have an imaginary camera, and I get to do all the stupid tricks that you do on a TV show, where you start it, and you have cold opens, and you get to, like, turn the camera 360 degrees around and stuff. So I thought I couldn't help myself and do, like, a beginning of the television show thing. And then Brandon just made it fucking slap.
Thanks. I only slap because you slap. Do you see?
Damn.
We all slap.
We all slap together.
Is this like a metaphor for violence? Is that what's happening?
A little circle. We all slap each other.
There were a lot of people who were very excited about the theme, myself included, and you can buy it, by the way, jointhepartypod.com/merch.
Oh.
But Skrokengen said, Brandon, how do you keep making the theme better? As a musicology student, I must know. So let's get nerdy. How did you approach this? How did you remix and improve on and make somehow perfectly campified our Join the Party theme?
Talking to a musicology student is an interesting perspective for you to talk to this. I think, honestly, the answer is I got older. I learned more.
Yeah.
The thing that I try to do every time is I take the little nugget, which is always the melody, obviously, which is the thing that you sing and then everyone sings and dances to, and I just imagine like, what if melody but different, and like if you the same way you would imagine like, let's draw this character in a horror movie or draw this character in like a period drama, romance, whatever. It's like, how would they dress differently? And that's sort of like how a metaphor of like what I'm thinking of. And luckily, like I don't have to be like super original. I can just pull from existing genres and what people expect from those things. So like as a musicology student, you would probably, if you're doing modern music, you would read about like, how there's certain chord progressions we use mean different certain things, or like what instrumentation portrays what vibe for people, for lack of a better word. I mostly think about like, all right, this one's going to be camp. I think we either offhandedly or purposely talked about like what the influences were.
I know that in our process, you started writing this music after we had done our world building episode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eric, I think you followed up with some kind of notes about like feelings and mood and things like that. You did for our artist Allison Wakeman as well when she redesigned the cover art. So do you remember if you provided any like reference points or adjectives to Brandon?
No, I don't think so. Not to Brandon. I also want to say that, like, sure does help that you know how to play the mandolin, huh?
Not a thing most people know how to do.
That's
offhand.
true.
It's like, well, my inspiration was that I know how to play a little guy right here.
Well, yeah, someone at some point said Luminaires, and then I was like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Brilliant.
Well, it was after you shared the first draft, and we were all very excited to listen to it. And I was at home, and I think I wrote something like, I hope this is not offensive, but this is Luminaires in the best way. And you were like, oh, yes, it is. And I was like, oh, phew.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was looking for. And it's easy, again, when you're just trying to like emulate a genre. Like, I know exactly what things to pull on, which is like the hey and hoes, the stomps, the claps, the folk instruments like mandolin and acoustic guitars. It does help that I taught myself, or I took some lessons and then learned mandolin in college because I'm a ridiculous person who gets bored a lot, so I learned other string instruments. But it was fun for me on a personal note. It was super fun to me to do this one, particularly because I've learned so much and have built up my studio. I actually did get to record the mandolin acoustically. I recorded the bass myself. Like, I actually got to record instruments instead of using strictly software instruments before. So that was super fun for me. But yeah, I'm glad you guys like it.
It's so good, Brandon.
Very
So
good.
good.
I am the bird at the end.
I'm the guy going, ah!
I do regret not asking you guys to say hey and ho and throw those in the
Well,
We'll just do it now.
You have the tracks. Hey, Julie, can you give Brandon the stems?
Yeah. Julie, can you release the hey ho cut on Patreon? Would that be okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna get those from you, align them in the track, and then just solo those out and then put that out.
Oh,
Nice.
incredible.
Hey, I would love that. Hey, is the melody?
So good.
And I will remind everyone, I'm not a musical genius. That was a sample that I took from a sample library before, and then I just rearranged everything about it.
Was it the Matt and Kim like sample YouTube kit sample thing? Was that what it was?
So Converse used to have studios, or I think they still do.
Oh my god.
Called Rubber Tracks.
What?
That I've been to a lot in New York, and it's a dope ass studio. And they used to take samples from the sessions they would record for musicians for free, and it was in order to get your session for free, you had to supply samples from your sessions.
Oh, that's cool.
So they had a whole library of stuff, and I don't think it's around anymore. But I think someone from someone who had a name, Hot Hot Heat maybe, was that musician, and they just like jammed, and I picked out a little section that I liked. So
That's so funny.
That's amazing.
I remember when you showed that to me. You must have went in our old job, and I was like, this is Matt and Kim's stems. Where'd you get these?
Yeah.
And I was like, and you were like Converse, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
That's not an answer.
That's not an answer.
the coolest thing about going to the Converse studios is every time you go, when you leave, you get to go into their big closet and take a pair of Converse.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
Is that true?
That's tight as fuck.
If that's a lie, Brandon, you have to tell me. I'll be really sad, but I need to know.
It's not a lie. I got free Converse.
That's really cool.
Oh
That's
my
tight.
God. Amazing. Well, in terms of building our world, we went a lot into our inspirations in our world building episode, of course, talking about Gravity Falls and Monster of the Week and our camp feelings. So if you're curious about any of that, listen to that episode. It's a great place to start. Why don't we hop into our first plot episodes, beginning with, of course, the Icebreaker. Eric, would you remind us when all went down in episode 1, the Icebreaker?
Yeah, I told you guys we're gonna play in character, true truth and a lie.
That was so funny.
A real Eric Silver joint, I have to say. As is, we just saw the new Top Gun movie recently, and all the call signs are like Maverick, Iceman, like cool things from like two syllable like awesome monikers. And then one guy's in the new episode. Skip forward 15 seconds if you don't want to know an extremely minor spoiler for Top Gun Maverick.
There's planes.
His call sign is Bob, and I'm like, that's an Eric Silver joke if I've ever heard one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, that was really fun. I just like there's a lot of orientation in camp, especially for staff. And I thought that like because you guys are counselors in training, very much in this liminal space between being a camper and being staff, and you're gonna have like a lot of people telling you things. I thought it would be really fun to have like a full episode devoted to that, which is similar to the exposition you would do in an episode 1 or an episode 0. So I wanted to combine some of the stuff that the director was saying, that assistant director Z was saying, that Jane was saying, with like you all sharing your characters, meeting some more people, and then eventually ending with Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which Hervasio characterized as a real fun WTF right out the gate.
It was just so perfect. Like, if you got a block of marble and chiseled the perfect Eric joint out of the marble, you would get the image of Steven the skeleton.
Yep,
exactly.
Hanging out on his lawn chair.
Growing watermelons, sucking them dry, discarding them, and then an 8-year-old being like, this is normal. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
I was really committed to kicking things off from the jump. The campaign is going to be 20 episodes max, right? So I needed to set some stakes from the beginning. I'd also done a rewatch of Gravity Falls recently, and I really liked how the enemies were set up from the beginning, which is something that, I kind of buried the lead on a little bit in campaign 2. So I really wanted something very funny to start from the jump and the big bad to be known right from the beginning. So Steven, I was just like, man, what if he's a skeleton? What if he has sunglasses? What if he's like the embodiment of chaos and summer? I wanted it to go right from the beginning. I also wanted you all to be able to talk to Steven. That was a really important thing, which I think all of you
Eric,
did.
you told us so many times we shouldn't talk to Steven.
Some of us tried, Eric. Some of us tried.
I mean, you did. I wanted that to happen. Director Lowe was going to tell you not to do it, but I wanted Steven there for you to talk to the entire time. And I knew I had to, and Steven saying one of you was going to betray the rest.
So good.
I wrote that in my notes.
So
I
good.
needed to say that. I'm so glad that you all liked Steven, and Steven will be around. Something that was really important to me was kind of, as Director Lowe was explaining who Steven was, I like that Steven was not the name, it was just the moniker we gave this, like, skeleton trickster figure.
It's the latest in a long series of names.
Right. I written down Beelzebub, Coyote, a satyr. He was in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He might have been one of the horses of the apocalypse, etc. So I wanted to bring about, like, all of the possible traditions or mythologies or stories that could have come from the various different things that we know, whether we're talking about like a Pan-Americana thing. I know like Coyote is the trickster in a lot of Native American traditions, so I wanted to honor that, but also like the stories that other people tell. I mean, there's like the Tall Tales thing that's there. Like he might have also been a big blue ox at one time, it's like we don't know who Steven is. Now this thing is a skeleton with sunglasses, but now we have given him the name of Steven, as Director Lowe said, of like, yeah, this is what we call this fucking guy who's so annoying.
Yeah, and because we're telling like a very uniquely Pan-American story and like North American story, I think that the folding of all of these different traditions into what is the central trickster archetype of Steven makes a lot of sense.
For sure. I think there's also something from Monster of the Week that's helping with that. Like when I come up with monsters or creatures that are like the main baddie of these stories, Monster of the Week is really interesting in the way you put this together, that they need to like fall into like a particular archetype of like intention, like do you have an assassin, do you have like a queen, do you have like a brute, do you have someone who just wants to destroy? So trickster is one of them, so making me clarify what archetype I'm working with I think is really helpful. So Steven is like big trickster energy regardless of how you consider trickster in your own traditions or fiction reading or whatever.
Listen, Eric, I didn't know that about Monster of the Week, and I was just talking about archetypes, and I love that we combined forces.
No, that's amazing, and I think pushes against, some of the limiting nature of D&D coming from a war game where there is, someone you are opposing and your aim is to like chip away all their health till they're dead, and that's the end of it. And I think you've done a great job, Eric, on the show so far of complicating monsters and opponents and enemies and saying like everybody has their own agenda, and if you're opposite me then maybe I think you're my enemy, but it may not be the dragon lurking in the cave that you have to slay and not think about kind of why or how. And one of the freedoms that I'm feeling from Monster of the Week and that I'm so excited to explore in the Camp-Paign is like what other forces exist here, and are you necessarily my enemy, and what do I have to do about that?
Yeah, I love that conflict because do you guys remember in the episodes of the Camp-Paign 2 where Milo decided to team up with Gutenberg because they had the same intentions and motivations and they worked together?
Spoilers!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because Gutenberg told Milo he reminded him of himself at 25. Remember?
I also hate shorts.
Hey, you seem really fucking weird. You want to come on my side?
Job.
Just some white guys ripping it up? Are you good? You like that? Gutenberg did say that to Milo at one time. That he did say that.
We just cut it for time.
Oh, we did.
Just cut it for time. We cut it for time.
God.
Yeah.
I did say that once. It was very funny. But yeah, no, it's Monster of the Week has been really interesting. I think we'll touch on a lot of this. A thing about Monster of the Week as well is that you can't, for most monsters, especially ones that have capital W weaknesses. The thing about Monsters of the Week is you need to figure out how to defeat them first, or you can't do damage. That's a very big deal. So, for example, if you were fighting a prototypical vampire, you would need to figure out which of the vampire mythologies are real. And they'd be like, yeah, dude, I can fucking come in your house whenever you want. What do you mean? but garlic is real. So then you'd be like, oh, we got to get this garlic. We're going to make a garlic bomb, etc. And then you can do damage. So there's a lot of instead of just doing what you're good at, or I'm going to do a level 8 spell. Instead, it's you need to do the creative thing, or you need to figure out what's real and what's not in order to progress in a Monster of the Week game, which I think is why Les's character exists. You know, someone who's not necessarily good at fighting necessarily, but is good at information, because it's 50% of the game.
Yeah,
Hell
totally.
yeah, and we're lucky to have a character like Les on the team, on the best friends.
Stop.
And sorry,
stop.
let me train my mouth into saying this. And a person who rolls as well as Brandon?
I saw someone, by the way, mentioned, they're like, well, the highest that someone can roll in a Power by the Apocalypse game is a 12, which is average for Brandon. So,
hey, that person, fuck off. I'm just kidding. I love you. It's very funny.
Yeah. Another thing about the class, and I think we'll get there as we talk about characters, is you got to stay in your playbook.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a real thing that we've been starting to touch on, and we will touch on as we listen to more episodes. That the thing you do is the thing you do, and when you're put into a situation where you're not good at it, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Amanda, you know what I'm realizing? I think maybe someone put a curse on us or something, because as your rolls started getting worse, mine started getting better. Something's happening.
It's a real gift of the Magi situation where I got you some die that only roll well, and you got me some that only roll poorly, and I sold my watch and you cut your hair? Is that what happened?
I got a comb for dice? I'm confused. I don't know.
Well, if we want to reverse the curse, we just need to get a cow as white as milk, a cape as red as blood, etc., etc. Not good.
Julia, I got you Meryl Streep in the first act of the show. Is that good?
Yeah.
Guys, I watched that finally. I watched the whole thing. I understand the jokes. I'm included.
Yay!
Aww.
Oh, you had to watch James Corden sing. Sorry, buddy.
It was.
And Chris Pine dance?
Brandon, just watch the stage production. It's on YouTube.
That's the one I watched with.
All right,
Lauren,
good.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank God.
Well, yeah, I was like, why would Lauren show you the other one?
Do you need paid time off? Are you okay?
She has taste.
Yeah. Exactly.
But speaking of Monster of the Week, speaking of our characters, one question that lots of folks ask us is how is this new system feeling? How are you enjoying this? What is playing Monster of the Week like? Let's start, please, with my fellow players. How are y'all feeling about this new system and about playing teens specifically?
So to start with the system, it's really interesting to play something off of D&D that is so rules light in the way that we just do stuff and I don't usually have to roll for it, which is kind of wild. Like I keep trying to roll for things and Eric's like, no, you can just do that. I'm like, what? No, what are you talking about?
Dad, you're supposed to stop me.
He's supposed to stop me when I do wild shit.
I do think there's something helpful about playing different Powered by the Apocalypse games. And maybe this is Amanda and I are okay with this because we played a Masks game.
Yeah.
We've talked about Masks a little bit. You're playing teenage superheroes. And the main thing that they say is like, you can just do regular things that your powers allow you to do.
Yeah.
But only once you push yourself to do something extraordinary, then do you have to roll. And that's something that I'm trying to allow all of you to do. So it's like, oh, I want to climb up a ladder really fast, or I want to run away, or I want to hide, or I want to sneak. You can just do it until you get into a situation where there's like a breaking point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in terms of RPing as like young adults, it's really interesting because, I'm coming from a character that was like extremely confident with Val, and now to Phoebe, who is the opposite, which is like, it's just like, it's playing a person with no confidence. That's what I think being like a young adult player character is.
Sorry, Julia, none of that resonates with me.
No.
Carrie Ann has all the confidence in the world.
Well, like Carrie Ann is like motivated by a mission. So I think that helps in terms of her confidence and also the fact that she has the next 60 years of her life planned.
Yeah.
Bro.
And it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah, did you just think that through, Eric?
No, I just love Carrie Ann so much.
I know.
I get it.
I think for me, I won't lie, like I think the system was intimidating for me, and is still getting, but getting much better through the help of Eric walking me through stuff and talking with me at stuff. But I think for the exact same reason that you just mentioned, Julia, that it's better for you, or like I don't know, better, but that's what's making it difficult for me is because there's not enough rules. And so like I don't have the guide rails that I normally have with D&D. And a lot of that's just familiarity with the system, and once you get familiar with it, you understand it and you can play it and mold it better and bend it better. But I'm definitely a person that needs a sandbox, and to have the sandbox at least just expanded a little bit is like disorienting for me. But I think it's getting better, especially this last session we just recorded that you'll hear in a while was really, I felt much better about this game system, and yeah, I think that's thanks to the guidelines of our good GM. Our good keeper, Eric. That's
me. I would love to say more about this, but I need to hear about Carrie Ann. And also the goddamn... listen, for all my NBA Jam heads out here, Amanda's been heating up with Dr. Bertha Bones, and she's about to be on fire with goddamn 2 in a row. I love Carrie Ann so much. How are you enjoying being like... I think a character we haven't had on the show before. Yeah. Someone who's confident, but also like an asshole. Like Val was very confident, but always doing things for the greater good. Yeah. I don't know if that's true for Carrie Ann.
I'm sorry, Eric. Are you forgetting Rose Gold?
Rose Gold too, though. Like Rose Gold wasn't in your face about her. It was
passive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
Is Carrie Ann my wayward son anything? Is that something?
Yes,
something.
It is. Brandon, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
As the one person who's a Supernatural fan on the call, Brandon, I appreciate that joke.
Vidalia Rose also asked about how much of your younger selves are in the PCs and NPCs. And I know, Julia, you've said in the Discord and elsewhere that, there's a lot there for you. Brandon, I'm curious about your experience. For me, Carrie Ann, like I always sort of, much like realizing I was bisexual, okay, when I was like 10 or 11. Follow me on this journey.
It's like John Green said, a little bit and then all at once. A little bit all at once,
where you're like, it's strange that I'm noticing boobs a lot. And then like 2 years later, it's like, oh yes, there is a word and a reason for this. And for Carrie Ann, I'm like, I don't know, this is the character I'm kind of drawn toward. And it is reminding me of how, as a child, I felt like trapped in a child's body. And I was like, if anyone would just ask me my opinion, I could tell you how to fix things. Like the immigration system, my family dynamic, the way this office is organized, the way that like this classroom is run. Like if you would just ask me, I could be like, yes, I know what to tell you to do, and it would be better. I was wrong some of the time, but I was right a lot of the time. And nobody ever asked me.
But the confidence was there.
The confidence was there. And the confidence was, beaten out of me by life. And I realized I need to like pretend not to have these opinions to have friends. Is that a thing I'm still learning? It sure is. But as usual, role-playing games provide a fairly safe, and in my case, public environment for working through my
for
childhood
therapy.
trauma. So yes, Carrie Ann is the child that I was without any of the inhibitions and with one specific thing to channel that into. I'm glad that my fellow players are not throwing me out of the game, because it is so much fucking fun to be selfish and wild.
I love that.
Your character is so good. Why would we throw you out?
How do you feeling about the system, though? I'm curious. Like
Eric said, playing Masks we played it for like most of lockdown, and we had very regular games with previous guest on the Patreon, Marquez the DM, our GM, as our GM of Masks. So I was familiar with the system, and that is not as big of an adjustment for me. Using my moves has been interesting, and we'll talk about kind of magic, and specifically like being a person who doesn't use magic in Monster of the Week is different to playing like a superhero in Masks. So that's the one thing I'm kind of wrapping my head around is, Carrie Ann's thing is assisting, and like that's the move I chose, and that's something that we, almost got to see come into play in these last couple episodes, and you will see more.
Oh, I think we definitely got to see a lot of it. Like
you definitely use it in the first day.
Yeah. Your help move came in.
And when you smeared blood on things.
Oh yeah. Word.
Yeah.
Cool.
For sure.
Many questions and also answers to come when we come right on back from a little break in the kitchen, little refill of the charcuterie board. I'll be right back.
Get bug juice.
Yay!
'Cause it's camp. Hey, it's Eric. My mom is here. She's in the office right over here as I'm recording, and I think that's pretty neat. Everyone say hi to my mom. You can wave. She'll see it, definitely. Welcome to the mid-roll. We're going to go get dinner later. It's going to be fun. First and foremost, thank you to our newest patrons, Aiden Loves January, Wise Girl the Bean, Holly, Tamar, Donald, Marcus, and Whimsical. Listen, the beginning of this episode is all the good stuff that we're doing with the Patreon right now. We think you're going to like it. If you're not a part of the Patreon, you got to get on it. $5 a month for party planning, ad-free apps at $8 a month, video content at $10 a month, and more and more and more. You heard it. Patreon.com/jointhepartypod. Once you've caught up with every single episode of Join the Party and you've read it a bunch of times and you've sent me your ideas on themes and you listen to all of the campaigns again to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes, and then you email me again, you can listen to plenty of other shows that are part of the Multitude Collective. If you like Amanda and Julia, you're definitely going to like Spirits. Spirits is a history and comedy podcast focused on everything folklore, mythology, and the occult, told through the lens of feminism, queerness, and modern adulthood. Every week, mythology buff Julia and her childhood friend Amanda get together to learn about a different story from mythology and folklore over drinks. That's everything from the mythological origins of major franchises like Lord of the Rings and Wonder Woman, to modern urban legends, to a roundup of werewolf stories from around the world. Start listening to any of the nearly 300 episodes they've released over the last 5 years. There's so much to enjoy, whether you're here for analyses of mental health in mythology or creepy modern ghost stories. Dive in at spiritspodcast.com or search for Spirits wherever you get your podcasts. We are sponsored this week by Tor Books. They think that fans of tabletop RPGs will love the book Daughter of Redwinter by Ed McDonald. Here's a quick synopsis. All her life, Rain has hidden, lied, and run to save her skin. She's made some particularly bad choices along the way, so when, for once in her life, she decides to be kind and rescues an injured woman in the snow, that becomes the most dangerous decision Rain has ever made. It sounds really good. Page-turner, quick action dialogue, and Rain is a main character with a great mix of tired cynicism and youthful hope. Aren't we all? Aren't we all just a great mix of tired cynicism and youthful hope? Check out Daughter of Redwinter or Daughter of Redwinter, now available wherever books are sold. And now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. there are plenty of ways you got to be intentional to take care of your mind. You can't like take it out for a tiki drink or buy it new clothes or go to the Poke Center website and buy a giant Snorlax for it to fall asleep on. But what you can do is give yourself a break. It's really odd when you have to like think about your mind and your mental health as something separate from like your waking self. Is like there's me and then there's my body and then there's like the environs in which the me who is speaking lives. It's confusing, but you need to be nice to it so that all this stuff can function together. How we care for our minds affects how we experience life, so it's important to invest time and care into keeping them healthy. And the equivalent of taking your mind out to a tiki drink is finding therapy, and BetterHelp can help you with that. BetterHelp is one way you can access therapy, meeting with a therapist via phone, video, or even live chat. You can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours and switch to a new one for free if you need to, because finding the therapist that's right for your mental health is actually one of the hardest things that you have to do, and BetterHelp makes that super easy. If that sounds interesting to you, our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/jointheparty. That's betterhelp.com/jointheparty. And now, back to the show.
Eric, from your perspective, how is planning for these sessions different to planning for 5e? For example, like we had our Icebreaker episode, yes, but then we also, of course, got into the first day, part 1 and 2, our episodes 2 and 3, our first mystery, which is the parlance that we use here in Monster of the Week. So I, being a person that lives with you, saw you look up and go, oh, I have it now, and then kind of decide on the mystery of the first couple episodes. But how have you approached planning this?
If planning a Dungeons & Dragons session is 10% good idea, 90% mechanics, a Monster of the Week mystery is 90% good idea, 10% mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
My nightmare.
It's really hard. So, like, I will be like, the night before, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And then I write it down in like 30 minutes. It took me a really long time to get my head around it, to figure out exactly how we're going to do it. I asked a lot of people about their opinion, especially Marquez, who's been running Powered by the Apocalypse games for a long time. And like throwing ideas off of people. I've been throwing ideas off of Misha. Somewhat, a lot in the beginning, but it was more like, does this hold water? I've also been using Zoe, our merch person at DFTVA, as like a rubber duck, because she's really good at that, and she's played a ton of different types of games, because her partner is also a game designer, so she's very used to like non-D&D mechanics, and also she's a cryptid lady.
Shout out Zoe, she's the best.
Shout out to Zoe. So
buy Zoe's Cryptid Tarot.
Yes.
And buy all of our things at jointhepartypod.com/merch. So I've been throwing a lot of ideas at people before doing it. Basically, like, I could talk about this for a really long time because it's all I thought about for the last few months. I taught myself how to play Monster of the Week. I taught myself how to plan it, and then I taught you three how to do it. And it's been like it's been a really long process. I've been trying to figure it out. It also helps that goddamn Monster of the Week made a second edition and didn't tell people about it. So I was using a first edition manual for a while until Julia pointed out that's not how experience works anymore. And I'm like, fuck me. So
I don't remember doing that, but sure.
Remember, the experience was when you rolled like two targeted skills. Then you got experience.
That sucks.
And then like Julia was like, that's not what it says on my cheat sheet.
Yeah, I think Julia just happened to have the second edition manual because you bought the actual book, right?
So, yeah.
Because you have the book, but I had a PDF, and then I had to find the new one. So the other thing that people don't see is that I have on my Adobe Acrobat, I have a cheat sheet.
Not spawn.
A cheat sheet
please sponsor us. It's so expensive.
No, I don't want to No, I don't want Adobe shit.
We don't want that Adobe money.
So at all times, I have the Monster of the Week second edition PDF. I have the Tome of Mysteries PDF, which is the supplement that we use in addition. I then have the Keeper reference sheet. I have the Hunter's reference sheet, and I think I have my own notes up at all times. Monster of the Week is very rules light, but the rules that they do have are very specific for making the game works.
Yeah.
So you can't just be like, whatever, fuck it. Yeah, roll it. Make the saving throw, do whatever. You really got to follow follow what they say because it's the form is following the function, because we're playing a Monster of the Week television show. We're playing Gravity Falls. We're playing X-Files. We're playing Supernatural. And, like, you can't just, like, fucking freewheel that because it's a very specific genre that we're playing. We're playing a television show, so we need the successes and the middling successes and the failures to be what's been written. To that end, I fucking love it. And there's a lot of things that they've written in here that I will then move, especially when it comes to perception and investigation. The rules of investigate a mystery and read a bad situation have been so helpful in clarifying storytelling, and like why I don't need to write things down because you're going to ask me an agreed upon question and that like you can only choose one it has been very, very helpful. And I really love that.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
That's true. Yeah, you know how you would answer those questions because the questions are spelled out what we can ask.
Mm-hmm. To that end, I actually the way that you plan a Monster of the Week session is like you come up with like the people and the places and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like you need to have a good idea. You come up with the monsters and you come up with the NPCs and maybe a cool new place, but like I do not write down how shit goes down. I don't even write down the clues necessarily. So everything is based upon what you all want to do. For example, in the first day, I didn't know necessarily that you would want to go check out Frankie. However, Les has the move, go see the Trippers, you know what I mean? So I knew that was in his bag, but I didn't necessarily know it was happen. And also, things changed because you decided to go to the swimmer's cabin instead of immediately go to the Trippers.
Yep.
That's why you ran out of time and then shit went down.
That's why Jane got hurt.
Exactly, that's why Jane got hurt. But I didn't write that down. I knew you had to go back eventually because that's where the waterhole monster lives, in the waterhole. But like I didn't write down the clues you were going to find in the swimmer cabin or necessarily that Frankie would give that to you. I kind of thought that like you could find whatever you want and you were all really interested in diving. So I pulled that out of the shack. But like the other thing that they do let you do is you have to write down what would happen if no one intervened in kind of like 6 events that would happen if no one stopped it.
Right.
So that's where I pull from, but like it's only like for inspiration. I really don't write down all that much.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
You're really giving me a heart attack here.
I promise. It's all Brandon. It's all fine. I'm getting a little bit better at it, but it's certainly a change.
We're all anxious here.
We are. Speaking of the Trippers, Brandon, how did it feel to meet the heart of the cards for Les's playbook?
Oh, it's cool. I was excited, I think, because Eric and I had just talked about archetypes, and so I'm always excited to see what Eric comes up with to fill out those sort of like archetypes of things.
Oh, so you were just like the leader, the like rafting guy
Yeah, exactly.
or whatever.
They were all skills-based, yeah. So Frankie was what was Frankie?
Frankie did diving. That was the thing. Yes.
Oh,
Frankie was
right.
the diver, yeah. So
of course.
I love seeing the sort of richness that Eric can pull out of his brain and to give to characters, because to me they're just like, you know, 2D cardboard cutouts with the word diver written on them.
You know, it's funny that you did that because I really liked touching on in the first mystery the ambiguity of if monsters were real or not. And I think that like we hadn't touched on it a little bit because like Les was pretty sure they were real and Phoebe was very sure they were real and Carrie Ann didn't care because she was at camp. So I liked how Frankie was like, well, according to my cryptozoology, the waterhole monster shouldn't exist, but should I be telling people that monsters don't exist? I don't know. And I think that was kind of a real interesting push and pull that I got to do because it was like your move as the searcher who is very into monsters. I thought that was a very cool thing to do, and using that as a plot point.
Yeah. I would characterize Les as the David Duchovny I want to believe.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like not necessarily that he does believe, but he wants to.
And Julia, we got to see you unleash your powers as well. How did that feel? How did that feel as a moment? And what are you thinking and feeling about Boo having perhaps some lasting consequences from that?
Okay, to answer the first part of the question, Magic and Monster of the Week is like really interesting because mostly it's just I tell Eric, hey, I'm gonna do this thing with magic, and Eric tells me either, yeah, you could do that, or nah, that's not gonna work.
You say it, and I go, lol, go ahead.
So because magic is so like weird and flexible in Monster of the Week, and it's something that I'm still adjusting to. I always feel almost like nervous about using my magic, which is hilarious because it feels like such a true Phoebe thing to be very nervous about using her magic. So it's interesting.
Yeah, magic is really funny because, like, theoretically, all characters can roll magic.
Yeah.
All you have to do is roll plus weird. But we kind of took that away to make sure, which shout out to Tome of Mysteries, if you want to play more of like a X-Files game instead of a Supernatural game where like Dean Winchester can just like do magic, I guess, or some shit. or an angel just shows up. Like, I like that this is only Phoebe's thing. So, and like, man, the effects you can do with magic are so wide-ranging, and the glitches are so big.
Yes.
There's also a fun thing about big magic, which I didn't really understand, but like at any time you can like do a capital S spell in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer sense.
Like rituals and whatnot.
Exactly. Where like all you need is like a grimoire and some shit. And like I need to come up with what the shit is.
Like research and preparing though. Like the whole thing with big magic is it takes much more preparation than what Phoebe does, which is just like it happens.
But I like that because you don't need to be a magical person to do big magic.
Right.
You just need to. So
you need
that's
time
very
and materials.
cool.
It's very cool.
Yes. So it's like Phoebe can do spells, but anyone can institute like a fucking spell circle.
The way that I see it in my head, not to be a fucking Marvel fan here, is like the way that Wanda/Scarlet Witch's magic is at first, and then big magic is like Stephen Strange level of magic where you are preparing a thing and learn how to do magic through research and spells and whatnot.
Sure. All right. All of us need to go around because Julia said the magic words that we all need to do our Benedict Cumberbatch American
I refuse.
accent.
No.
Hello, I am Stephen Strange, American guy. Go Yankees.
Hello, Peter. Welcome to my townhouse.
Those are too perfect. I can't.
Oh, no, yeah, we can't come up with that.
I think we need to Doctor Strange spin our way into the game and character question corner.
Oh my
Sounds
God.
good.
Ready for some rapid fire questions from the Discord and also Instagram and Twitter?
Yeah.
Hit it.
Thank you, New Yorker Amanda McLoughlin. Let's do it.
I love and frequently eat pizza.
Give me a slice, Peter Parker.
I only pay $1 for pizza.
It is not a pound only of pizza, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, speaking of character voices, Delia Sully, great name, would like to ask, Eric, do you have favorite character voices? And does the character voice that you choose for a character end up impacting how much you like them?
Oh, good question.
I'm gonna answer for you. 100% yes.
100 yes.
Good question. No, I really try not to play favorites. I really like doing funny ones and surprising people, but I really try not to play favorites with the NPCs. I do think that once they're off and running, they're kind of like their own individuals. I talked about this a little bit about Dez in Camp-Paign 2, that like Dez wants to do what Dez wants to do, and that's what Dez sounds like, because I don't sound like this. Like Dez, when I go into Dez's voice, I do what Dez wants and not what I want necessarily. So I've been trying to embody that a little bit more, because like, and also I'm trying to stretch my range of character voices a little more. Like obviously I love Boo, but I also love Assistant Director Z a lot, in that like it's not only a voice, it's like a thing you say.
It's a vibe.
Like I like every time I speak as Assistant Director Z, there's like a slash of lightning in the background.
You know, it's funny. It sounds very similar to your Benedict Cumberbatch voice.
Weird. Need to put that on our little Assistant Director Z supernatural side effects question mark. Notepad.
Oh.
You guys keep referencing this TV show that I don't know what you're even talking about. What is? I don't even know.
No. But no, Assistant Director Z is like I'm going to kill anyone who gets in the way of my campers' fun this summer.
And Carrie's like, yeah, me too. Tell me who to kill. Yeah.
Feels very like a Goosebumps adult or like a Are You Afraid of the Dark adult or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like on a TV show where the adults are only shot from like their feet. Like on the Rugrats, right? Where like often they would just like be the feet in the background,
Like
or like
Peanuts,
on Toy Story. Yeah, Peanuts, right?
Yeah. So I don't like to play favorites, but there's definitely. I mean, sometimes it's just funnier to say something in a voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always that is true.
Always.
Yeah.
It's always funny to say things in voices.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's our new Patreon tiers.
Fuck, we should have done that.
Give me $8. No ads. Fight the man. Like, it's just funny. It's just funny.
President Nethra would like to know, Brandon, how'd you manage to give Les, a child, a deeper voice than anyone you played before?
That was a choice. Because your options are either for voices, you either go higher or lower, and I usually go higher because it's easier for me. And so I wanted to try to give him. I'm not successfully doing it very well, but my intention is to do an impression of the climber Alex Hanold, or I don't know how to say it properly, but where he kind of has this like deep down in his chest voice, and he kind of like does a little bit of a stutter, like not literally stutter, but like a shortened speaking pattern. So that was my goal, because I think it's a fun voice for a climber, for a very confident climber boy.
Well, it's because Les went through puberty when he was 7.
That's the real.
We talk about that later.
So funny.
Julia, the question surgeon Michelle Spurgeon would like to know, has Phoebe always had magic, or is this something that is developing now?
Hey, so I know the answer to that. Eric knows the answer to that. But for you guys, it's a who can say.
Who can say?
Ooh, exciting. We'll get to that in just a moment. Michelle also asked, and I think it's a great clarification corner to dip into briefly. Ooh, the lighting is so good in here. Ooh. Are our characters actual camp counselors, or are there older people in charge? Eric, would you remind us how CITs work, and if it's perhaps a metaphor for the liminality of, I don't know, adolescence or other things?
Yeah, it's that thing Amanda said.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. When I went to summer camp, the oldest age group were also CITs, which were counselors in training, but they were also campers. But I know other places with summer camps hire like their youngest camp counselors are CITs, so they're counselors in training. They're interns, I guess, in a summer camp sort of way. They are assisted usually by other staff, which is why, like, I've kind of organized this program to be like, the CITs are in pods of 3, and they're kind of just like out in camp helping people out, and then they do get training from Matthew Jane. Training. Like Matt, like they talk to Jane if they have any questions, or they probably, we cut all this out of the show, but like, you spend 60 minutes reading pedagogy and you're like, this sucks. And then you have to take like a quiz that Jane is giving you and patting you on the head while it's happening.
That was my favorite episode, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. That was part of the unreleased session that we did beforehand as practice.
Oh, I forgot about the unreleased session.
Yeah, someone asked what happened during that. A lot of shit.
That was really fun. Can I say what it was about?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's it.
Unless you're planning on reusing it for something like.
No. I burned it. This is so I decided to choose something from the world building episode, and I burned it. Basically, there was a Mario Party-esque game called Fruit Fight 5 that basically possessed people and made people fight each other.
So good.
And that was like a phenomena that you guys needed to tackle. And then there was like a death cult that was cursing Fruit Fight 5 CDs, and then the kid of the parents who moved there from the death cult like was at camp, and you had to destroy it, which I thought was really cool. So that we burned that one, but that was a really fun session. I'm glad that we played one off mic.
I'm glad we practiced with that too.
Party star.
That's true. Brandon rolled so badly. Les was so addicted to Fruit Fight 5.
Yeah, that was fun.
He fully fell.
And I rolled shockingly well, which was great, but not as good in this one.
I think Les punched an 11-year-old in the face.
Did I? I don't remember.
No, you punched one of the counselors.
You punched one of the counselors in the face for taking a pomegranate from you. It was really funny. It was like everyone was super aggressive in the way, how people hate each other during Mario Party. That's what I was playing off of, but that was really fun.
Eric, I have a question and a complaint for you. This one is from Lena. When will you stop making me fall in love with your NPCs? That was the complaint.
Never.
And the question here is from Finn. Where did the idea for Jane come from? He's perfect.
Oh, Jane. I love Jane.
Everyone's best friend. And for me, it's a real, like, your friend's older brother crush vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted there to be, like, a cute, older counselor boy. I think this was when John Cho was promoting a new movie. So there were, like, a bunch of profiles up about him. And I was like, yeah, John Cho. And also, like, he wrote a YA.
Cooler and hotter than John Cho.
Yeah, seriously. And he wrote a YA novel about, like, had inspirations of him as a teenager. The name of the book is called Troublemaker. The cover of the book had a illustration of him or whoever the main character was, who was like him. And there's a really great.
Oh, look at that! Look at that Jane right there.
There's a cover of a teenage boy who I kind of envisioned as Jane, but then I like campified him a little bit. As I read, there was a line from Superbad that's like when you look into his eyes, it's like listening to the Beatles for the first time.
Yeah.
And like that's what I did for him. I don't know. I just really like that. Someone also asked me why his last name is Jane, and I'll tell you. It's because his parents are both non-American. His mom is Korean, like from Korea, and his dad is like from a Scandinavian country. And they both met like in Norway, and then they moved to the United States. And their last name is something that has like berry in it in some Scandinavian language.
Lots of like circles over the letters, and American immigration's like, I can't write.
I don't know what this is, so they just changed their last name to Jane. I wrote down his parents' names somewhere, but I had thought about that, and I also wanted to keep the tradition of calling people by their last names alive. So I thought that calling Jane was very fun.
That happened to your family, right? Going from a word that wasn't silver to silver.
Oh yeah, we went from Zilbergelt to Silver somewhere.
Which
Cool.
is a name that's tight as fuck.
It is a cool
It's
name.
a good name. Yeah.
Just a couple more questions here for us today, folks, because there is so much more to uncover and explore for Camp Die. Moss would like to know, did you consider calling the Camp-Paign Camp-Paign?
Yeah, we said it at the end of the world building episode.
We did consider that. We did indeed.
I
But
still want to shout out Brandon for writing the short story as a child.
thank you, Brandon.
So
Incredible.
funny.
There's a
What a
copy of
gift.
it somewhere. You'll never read it.
Hey, at 700,
Hey,
at
at 900 patrons, could we read that story, please?
yes, please.
Brandon's dad, you're a patron. You can make this happen.
I still think it's so funny how the first thing that happened with Brandon was like, I wrote this, and then Julia's like, oh, you mean Camp Diogenes? And we're like, we're off and
It's fully
running.
formed.
Yeah.
It's
We're
fully
here.
formed.
We
Yeah.
did it.
That's
Amazing.
what happens. Sometimes someone says something and then your brain is like, fill in the blank, Julia, and then you have a fully fledged thing.
I also want to say my favorite joke, and I hate that I'm saying my own favorite joke, but something I was thinking about as I was prepping episode 1 was like, someone needs to say, hey, don't say Camp Die in front of the
Hey,
campers.
quick branding note right here.
Because like that's so something that would happen from going from camp to staff
Yeah.
is you can't say the nickname everyone
Yeah.
says. That was like really, that one was really important to me.
So beautiful. And another question on everybody's minds. MK1109 is one person who asked, does Dougie Juice just grow up to be Sour Anthony? Is it a mirror universe?
No,
A parallel
it's
universe?
different people.
Yes.
Different people?
Dougie Juice is much richer than Sour Anthony. Sour Anthony has real working class chip on his shoulder.
That checks
I love
out.
it. I love it. Well, finally, folks, we have, of course, some spoily corner.
Woo!
Because there are dog days of summer left to stretch out and more mysteries to explore. So first from Abby, is the land on the other side of the wall with Steven's universe?
That's a good joke.
That's pretty good.
It's a good question. It's a good joke. Dominique asks, will the moss on Boo's head heal?
Who can say?
I want to say yes, only because I don't want to hurt Julia. I don't want to hurt Phoebe that hard.
I'm not
with
hurt.
Hal.
I'm
I like
good.
the idea that Boo just has like a smear of dirt on his head for the entire
Permanently.
summer.
And then when he gets to school, someone wipes it off and they're like, oh, it wipes off.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's one that you definitely want to answer, Eric. From Mel118. What's up with that watermelon rind?
Yeah, Eric, what's up with the watermelon rind?
And Steven also eating watermelons. Hey, is there a connection there?
I like it. It's pink.
Alex says, what is the deal with Steven? Put your fans' speculation to rest. Hashtag watermelon life.
Okay, so here's what's going on with Steven.
Never, Alex. That's how we live is on your W2Fs. Wyvern apologist, as someone who leans firmly lawful on the D&D alignment chart, Carrie Ann getting into trouble has me more worried than the moss growing out of Boo's head. Hope it doesn't happen again.
Hey, Wyvern apologist, I'm worried for Amanda too. Like,
Worry for Carrie Ann. Amanda's fine.
Oh, there's nothing in like fiction or storytelling about someone being devoted to an institution and then maybe being disillusioned as you realize that the institution is made out of people and is not like a flawless thing. There's no stories about that.
No, I never heard of that before.
So Amanda's gonna have a bad time with her boring character.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting around like everything's fine and I have no goals and well, I'll
And the
just
director
be-
and I are
sense.
best friends, and it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I called her mom once and it wasn't weird after. And finally, from the question search in Michelle Spurgeon, have spooky things always happened at Camp Die, or is it a new thing? And exactly how many children are allowed to go missing before the camp gets shut down?
Who can say?
that one's easy. They have an official policy. It's 4
Per year, though.
per year.
Per year.
I hope no one is like surprised with the light horror elements I'm putting in this thing.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get dark, y'all. Get ready.
I mean, already.
Lightly dark.
I mean,
Lightly dark.
already it's like, yeah, fucking Jane, his legs going the wrong direction. That's like the level.
Like a K.
That's the level of horror I'm putting in. Is like, hey, that person's very injured. Watch out.
Yeah,
We'll see. It's not called Camp Die for no reason, people.
that's true.
You know?
It's because everyone dies.
It's based on my original novel from 1998, and I will tell you, everyone died in that. So
Oh no!
Yeah, but Brandon, you wrote that when you were on Percocet, and you were living in Bangor, Maine, right? So like that's different.
All right, folks. Much more to come. Lots of updates over on the Patreon. Whenever we make a big housekeeping announcement, by the way, we put all the notes in the description. So if you want to review all the changes and see what's new and click on over to the merch store, the social media, the Discord, any of the fun things we have going on, check it out in the old episode description. And until next time,
bye, guys.
Later.
It's summertime.
may your rolls trend ever upward.
Party Star.
Hey!
Hey!
Oh, he said it at the same time. That was pretty good.
Twins.
And twins.